It's Halloween 2018. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the Blancolirio Channel, and all you Oroville Dam fans know that tomorrow, November 1st, is a very important milestone date for construction at the Oroville spillways. November 1st is the deadline set by DWR and the Kiewit contractors to have all the structural concrete set in the main spillway. Now, I snuck up there about 2 weeks ago to check on the operation, and it looks like they're ahead of schedule. The whole idea of a November 1st deadline was to have a spillway in place ready for the 2018-2019 flood season. We haven't had a drop of rain here all summer long, probably since last April or May, and the 10-day forecast looks completely dry as well. The lake level is very low, so the weather impacting things at Oroville is absolutely no factor. We got a press conference here with DWR and Kiewit Engineering in a couple hours. So let's jump up in the mighty Luscombe and take a look and see how things are progressing at the Oroville spillways.
Nevada County traffic, Luscombe 71608, departing 25, Nevada County to the northwest. Finals clear. Oil's warmed up. Mags are on both. Mixture rich. Lights, master mags are on. Fuel is on the right tank. The right tank is full. Let's go to Oroville. Winds are light and variable.
And now I'll turn this over to Jeff Peterson with Kiewit.
Thanks, Tony. Hi, I'm Jeff Peterson, Executive Project Director for Kiewit at Oroville. First, I'd like to echo Joel and Tony's comments and thank everyone, Kiewit, DWR, our subcontractors, and of course the Oroville community, who are all part of reaching this important milestone. Since we started this project in late April of 2017, more than 700 Kiewit employees have worked over 1.6 million hours. This number does not include the hundreds of local and regional subcontractor employees that also worked on the project. Crews worked around the clock, battling numerous 100-plus degree days and many cold, windy nights to get where we are today. And we did it without compromising safety. Every member of the team was and still is committed to ensuring that nobody gets hurt. To better understand the magnitude of the project, I'd like to summarize some of the major quantities of work and put them in perspective. On the main spillway, crews placed 509,600 cubic yards of concrete, enough to build a sidewalk from Oroville, California to Amarillo, Texas. The main spillway's slabs, walls, and dentates contain roughly 12.4 million pounds of reinforcing steel, which is enough to run a 1-inch rod of steel from Portland, Oregon to San Diego, California. The main spillway also includes roughly 7,200 slab anchors and 55,000 feet of drainage pipe. If you stack the drainage pipe vertically, it would reach more than 10 miles high. On the emergency spillway site, crews placed 706,000 cubic yards of roller compacted concrete to build the splash pad. But it's really the size of the splash pad that is impressive. With an area of 1.2 million square feet, 25 NFL regulation football fields can fit within the splash pad. Now, similar to the main spillway, crews installed a massive amount of rebar on the emergency spillway as well, nearly 600,000 pounds. If you've ever wondered how much concrete it would take to fill 372 Olympic-sized swimming pools, the answer is 1.2 million cubic yards. It's the equivalent of more than 245 million gallons of water, and that's how much concrete we used on both spillways. Our rock crushing crews produced 2.3 million tons of aggregate for the roller compacted concrete operations. This is equivalent to the weight of 23 aircraft carriers. Rebuilding the Oroville spillways has been a massive undertaking. We're especially proud of what our craft workers accomplished under the challenging conditions. This project is proof of what can be accomplished when you have the right team focused on a common goal.
Good morning. I'm Joel Ledesma, State Water Project Deputy Director. I would like to also thank the community for their patience and cooperation throughout this reconstruction process. We rebuilt the spillways in under 2 years, but we know it will take longer to fulfill our commitment to rebuild our trust and credibility with our surrounding communities.
As Joel Ledesma said from DWR, it's one thing to rebuild a billion-dollar spillway in a record 2 years, but an even more daunting task may be rebuilding public confidence in your organization. It's especially daunting when you have folks in the media like Dale Kessler from the Sacramento Bee continually producing misinformation and wrong information about this project and act like this at a press conference.
And now we will hear from Dale Kessler with the Sacramento Bee.
Hi, thank you. I'm kind of confused about the state of the main spillway. At one point, I thought you were telling me it was done, and then I believe Tony said the concrete will be ready to take water on December 1st, not November 1st. Maybe I misheard. And then I believe Jeff talked about there's still some drainage work that needs to be done on the main spillway. So without going through every chapter and verse of everything, can you just sort of encapsulate it for me? Is the main spillway done or not?
Yes, the main spillway is done. The goal for November 1st was concrete placement of slabs and walls and the dentates, which is what we've completed. Over the next 30 days, the concrete will cure, and that's why the lake is well below the gates, because we don't want to have to put water down the spillway until the concrete has fully cured. But if we needed to, we could use it now. The drainage work that will happen in the coming weeks is not necessary to be done before you could use the spillway. So if we needed to use the spillway right now, it's ready, it's done, and it can handle flows.
Okay, thank you, Aaron.
As you can see in this picture from 31 October, the lake level is down to 690 feet. The bottom of the spillway gates are at 814 feet. That's fully 124 feet below the spillway gates. It's going to take months, if not several seasons, before we see the gates open at the Oroville Spillway. And for the 2018-2019 flood season, out of an abundance of caution, operators are going to set the enhanced flood pool level at 835 feet for Oroville, a mere 16 feet below normal. Despite all the conservative precautions in place and careful explanations, the Bee publishes this specious headline. And then in a separate article, the Bee really stirs the pot with this headline. Completely confusing the long-term comprehensive needs assessment at Oroville versus work done to date. About every 25 years, operators need to reconsider the PMF, or probable maximum flood numbers, for their project, and also the PMP, probable maximum precipitation numbers, for their project. As scientists continue to grapple with climate change, it's likely that these numbers may rise in the distant future. However, nobody knows what these numbers are yet at this point. This is long-range planning that'll determine the long-range future and operation of flood control structures around the world. This has nothing to do with current construction here at Oroville, despite what the Sacramento Bee is trying to imply. So with all the structural concrete in place in the main spillway ahead of schedule, and all the roller compacted concrete in place ahead of schedule in the emergency spillway, there are still several cleanup items left to do on the punch list. While the concrete continues to cure over the next 30 days, crews will continue with dry finish work and joint sealing. On the outside of the main spillway, crews will continue to assemble the drains before backfilling the sidewalls to the main spillway. Crews are demobilizing portable concrete plants and removing some of the access roads, including this one, over the emergency spillway. One big job remains on the emergency spillway and will get started next spring, and that's the structural concrete cap that'll connect the RCC buttress to the existing emergency spillway OG weir wall. And it'll be located right here. This will provide a hardened structure for the water to splash down on once it tops the emergency spillway wall, and slow it down before it proceeds over the RCC step-down apron. Once the concrete plant is demobilized and the roads, temporary roads removed, crews can grade the hillside to drain the water down the 2 natural drainages below the emergency spillway. And the underground secant cutoff wall shown in yellow here will prevent head-cutting erosion from attacking the emergency spillway. Here's an interesting slide from DWR showing the difference between the new main spillway construction compared to the original main spillway construction. Already included in the budget is money to regrade the hillside and replant the hillside for erosion control and beautification, and the plan is to have the spillway boat ramp reopened by the summer of 2019. So while most of my questions were answered during today's press conference, I just had a few loose ends to tie up.
And next we will hear from Juan Brown with the Union newspaper, Grass Valley, California.
Hey, just kudos to all to getting this historic engineering feat accomplished ahead of schedule. That's just an amazing job, and safety being as good as it was throughout this entire rather dangerous project. Most of my questions were pretty well answered. A couple loose ends. The Hyatt power plant, are we still at 5 turbines? Are we going to have that 6 turbine, or is it back, or where's it at?
Well, thank you, Juan, for that. Those nice words. The Hyatt power plant has 5 up right now. So there was a turbine that was, or a unit that was taken out prior to February of 2017 for regular maintenance and refurbishment. We were targeting to bring that back up online, but the work looks like it's going to take us into next year. So we're going to be targeting winter of 2019 to return that unit back to service. But Hyatt is operational.
Right, with the 5 turbines. Thermalito, what kind of time frame are we looking at for Thermalito reopening power plant?
I'll pass that to Tony Myers with DWR.
Okay.
Yeah, the Thermalito power plant is in the final throes of construction and commissioning. They're looking at testing and having Unit 4 online in March, and then every month thereafter bringing another unit on, so that by middle of July it should be fully functional.
By July of
2019. And
Okay.
that's having all 4 units back.
Great. Aaron, any word from FEMA returning any payments, or we still just got the 1 payment and that's where it stands still at this time?
The FEMA reimbursement remained unchanged since September of this year when we provided our last cost update.
As we continue to overfly Oroville, how are we going to see the landscape change? Right now it's very heavily terraced with all the roads and that sort of thing. What's the final picture going to look like over there? Is the hillside going to be smoothed out? Are we still going to see a lot of access roads there, or what's the final product going to look like, roughly?
Yeah, this is Tony Myers. We just finished what we're calling the rough grading plan for recontouring the hillside and taking out some of the construction activities and trying to restore the hill back to some of its natural grade. Mm-hmm. That should take place and be done through the majority of the second and third quarters of next year, with some preliminary work starting here very shortly. And then there's a separate restoration contract which will be let next year for tree plantings and final grading to do all the final contouring, which will run through probably 2020.
Okay, and those costs will be ongoing. They're not a part of the 1.1 billion at this point, correct?
Yeah, they're a part of the overall budget that we've included at this point.
Okay, very good. And then finally, Jeff, that giant scree machine, you called it Franken Street, I think it was, to help you with the 4-to-1 slope there. Was that something that you built at Kiewit Engineering, or was that another contractor?
That was built on site. We started with one to make sure it would work, and then we built more of them. So it was a combination of ideas from the crews on the site, and then it was fabricated here on site.
Okay, very good. Well, that was a fascinating piece. Great, thanks. Okay, that's all I got for now.
Thanks, Juan.
Here's a closer look at that Franken Street, something I missed on my construction update. How do you keep your concrete from schlumping on a 4-to-1 slope?
Pretty neat innovation here behind us is what we call our Franken Street. It's a pretty unique carrier beam that holds the bunion tube. Makes it a lot better for the crews to be able to pull 37-foot wide screed up the hill on this 25% slope rather than trying to pull it by hand.
So once again, kudos to everybody involved in this historic engineering feat, proving that California can still get massive infrastructures projects done, like Jeff Peterson says, as long as you got the right team working for a common goal. Time to head back to the barn.
Well, let's go for a straight in runway 7 today in Nevada County. Winds are kind of out of the northeast up here. Pretty calm down there. All this scrubbiness, I got some time off from my day job. Managed to turn a week's vacation into about 3 weeks off on reserve on the wide body FO list. Good work if you can find it.
Traffic.
We'll try a 3-point Kablamo short field dead cow landing special. Landing a little long today. 608, final 7, Nevada County. Try a parachute style.
Rio Vista traffic, white and brown Cessna is going around runway 25, Rio Vista.
Looks high from here, but again, that's an uphill sloping runway. And a little bit of a quartering headwind.
Rio Vista traffic, white and brown Cessna is turning right crosswind, runway 25, Rio Vista.
50 indicated. Little tailwind, watch out for that tailwind. Now extend on them brakes. How short was that? Don't know. Gotta get out here and measure these.
Oscar 608, clearing 7, Nevada County.
It's all yours, boys.
And that does conclude our call for today. Thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.
Well, not much not much congratulations from our friends in the media there. They just want to continue to stir up trouble, it sounds like. But an amazing job, well done by everybody involved. This is truly an historic engineering feat, and it's been a real pleasure to be able to be a part of it. It's just an amazing, amazing process. See you here.